Hey guys, Jackie here from B3 Massage and Movement. Today I wanted to talk to you about the amazing massage tools that we have here at B3 and that you could be using to help your recovery. So, the first one is the foam roller. So you probably all either have one or used one in the past. The foam roller is a really great tool to use as an overall massage and stretching tool. It's fantastic because obviously you've got the foam, so you're really able to stretch out as you roll through any type of body part. And it's fantastic because you can use it literally throughout the entire body, from the legs, the front of the legs, back of the legs, in through the back as well. So it's a really great tool to stretch the tissues and get some blood flow, and can be used before and after some activity. The second tool here we have is the yoga stretch belt, and these are really fantastic in helping you stretch. So if you're one of those people who find flexibility is a very far away object and a goal for you, then you can use the stretch belt to aid in your stretching. It's really important to know that when you're doing any sort of stretching that you don't want to push yourself into a stretch. We need to be able to relax and settle into a stretch to make sure that the muscles are not overstretching and they're not contracting and getting into a defense mode. So, for example, if you're not able to touch your toes, then a really great way is to wrap the yoga strap around the foot. So now you've got some leverage here. We don't need to get right into a stretch to begin with. Remember, stretching is always done really slowly, and you want to warm up the body as well before you're doing a really intense stretch. So if I were here, then I would hold this position, and when I feel like I can get further, then I would simply just use the belt here to pull myself a little bit further. And like I said, it's a very small movement and always very slowly. So it's a fantastic way to gauge how far you can go and getting into a stretch even further safely and effectively. So the yoga stretch belts are fantastic for that. I'll skip the spiky ball for the moment. Let's get straight into the Pocket Physio, a fantastic trigger point tool, very isolating as you can see by the point. And it's got the flat surface and it's very rubbery, so you can pop it up against the wall, get into your back, and it won't slip because it's pretty rubbery there. So they're really great isolating specific trigger points and muscle groups. Can be used anywhere in the body, and they're great because you can actually use it in your hand as well and get into certain areas without having to roll around or look a little bit funny. If you're on a plane traveling somewhere, you can just get it out. It's pretty inconspicuous. So they're a really great tool, and obviously very handy to take it around in your pocket. It's pocket size, the Pocket Physio. So they're a great massage trigger point tool to use anytime. The Posture Pro. This is a very cool tool, and we just recently got these in at B3. As you can see, there's a groove here, so it's fantastic to use along the back. So the spine will go into this groove, and you can roll along the back really easily without putting too much pressure or going over the bony parts of your spine. So it's fantastic to use along the back. It's also really great because, as you can see, it's got a hole in the center there. So if you've got a stick, and yes, they're complementary at B3, you can pop the stick through the center of the Posture Pro and actually use it yourself manually as a fascial stretch tool. It's fantastic to use. You don't need much pressure at all, and you get results pretty quickly. So if at any time you're feeling like you're a little bit restricted through the range of motion, whether it's through the leg and the hip or even through the shoulder, or you're just feeling kind of cooped up in this position all day because work at a desk or something like that. Rolling on the Posture Pro or rolling out yourself manually in different areas is really going to help you. It's really fantastic. If you haven't seen one of these or experienced one of these, then come into B3 and have a play around, because they are really, really effective. So, the last two I wanted to bring your attention to are our massage trigger balls. Now, obviously we have two here. We've just recently brought in the locker room massage ball, and we've always had the spiky balls, and I bet you're thinking, well, do I need both? What's the difference? So let me go through the differences. Obviously, besides the obvious, and that is spiky ball is a bit bigger and it's spiky. Locker room ball being smaller and smoother, besides those two very obvious things. The spiky ball is really fantastic because of the spikes. Now, you're probably thinking, what's the difference? What's the big deal? So the spikes are really great because they can hook into the fascia and the muscle tissue, and without even moving through the ball, you can keep nice and stationary over the ball, and just you move your leg or whichever area you're focusing on, and you're stretching out the muscle tissue or the fascia underneath where you're working. So that is a really effective way to loosen up any sort of tension or the fascia that's maybe sticking together, and you'll find that your range increases incredibly. So that's probably the major difference between the spiky ball and the smaller locker room massage ball. The other thing is, obviously, being bigger, it's really great for bigger muscle groups. So, you know, your glutes, your quads, hamstrings. So the spiky ball is really fantastic for that. And then we have the locker room massage ball. Now, this is really fantastic to get into areas like your TFL, which is a smaller area to get into, and especially because it's closer to a bony landmark, the pelvis. So it's going to be more comfortable getting through it with a smooth ball as opposed to the spiky ball. Same thing goes for areas like throughout the back. Obviously, you've got your rib cage, and the spikes might feel a little more uncomfortable going through that area. So that's when the massage ball is much better and more comfortable going through the back. The other area is the foot, the plantar fascia. It's so great to be using through that area, and we need to be releasing the tension and the tissues through the foot. It's so important. It's probably the most neglected part of our body, and yet we use it the most. We're on them all the time. So really important to roll out throughout the foot. And sometimes if you were to use the spiky ball, the spikes can get a little sore or just a little more uncomfortable throughout the ball of the foot and even throughout the heel, whereas with the massage ball, going through the heel and in through the ball of the foot is much nicer and more comfortable. So they are the massage tools that you can use to help your recovery. They're simply fantastic. If you train several times a week, no matter what it is that you're doing, you should be doing something at home yourself for your recovery. It doesn't matter which product you use, which tool to use, it just matters that you're doing something. So that's a little bit about the tools today. If you have any questions, please question in the comments below and we'll make sure that we answer you soon. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, then please like it, share it with your friends, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.